What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, and Nvidia. Talk about what the charts are suggesting on the longer time frames, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just remember that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with this market so far. So looking at SPY, we have a very, very bullish looking weekly close. We got this big dump all the way down to the 575 area, and we just continued to climb as time progressed, making our way back up to about 597 for close on Friday. So very, very good job by SPY. Looking at the daily now, you guys can see the same thing is going on. We're looking quite bullish. We do have these gaps to fill on the daily chart so far, but there's no sign of us rejecting quite yet. And even if we do get some kind of rejection, I just want to say that right now we're still on a very, very strong uptrend, and we're very close to Trump's inauguration, which is having a big effect on the markets. The first thing that caused this pivot was the fact that PPI came out and the data was quite decent. We got a decent PPI. The market closed just like this. And the first thing that really pushed this came after CPI came out. So the next thing was CPI. That was very, very nice to see that the market ended up getting decent results because we were expecting a very bad CPI. There was all this fear about how yields are going up. The Fed would have to keep rates higher for longer, and all these fears that kept on emerging. As a result, CPI was decent. I would say it was decent because it was not as bad as what many people were expecting, and it caused this nice little bounce in the markets, and that's what really fueled this rally so far. So the issue with SPY is now that there's a very tough resistance in that 600 area. We haven't broken past that yet. It's very psychological, and if we do somehow manage to break that, there is a big gap to fill, at least on the 4-hour time frame, very close to that, uh, close to where this imbalance is right over here. I think that would take us all the way up to about that 605 area, and very close to all-time highs if we do break past that 600 mark. So heading into the week, I'm going to make this very easy to understand. We're going to be expecting more upwards pressure by SPY because we have a breakout attempt right over here, right? We had this resistance right here since December. We rejected, but the weekly and daily charts are looking quite strong. It depends if it could hold up or not. I'll see if we get some kind of pullback. There are a lot of gaps to fill below, but if we do get some kind of pullback like this, then we could be looking to see if we get a bounce. And as long as we get back above that 600 mark, I will expect a continuation. I think we're going to be going to all-time highs, but it depends if it could break 600. It's going to be a little bit tough. So if this rally continues, okay, and if we're not going to fill the gaps for the shorter term, as long as SPY does not lose its key support at this trend line, as long as we don't lose like 592 to 590, as long as that holds, this will continue to push at the very least. If we were to lose 590, there's going to be a risk of us dipping to start filling some of these gaps below. So I'd be a little bit careful about that. But we haven't really done that yet. Instead, we're continuing to uptrend. So Trump is going to be inaugurated on Monday, which is going to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The stock market is going to be closed. And when the market opens again on Tuesday, there's a very, very good chance it's going to try to continue this pump. We might dip a bit and we'll see if we continue. As long as we hold support and we can break past 600, then I expect us to shoot to all-time highs pretty easily. We're going to be looking for a big test right up at those levels. So please keep that in mind. That's the most likely possibility that I'm looking at. As we're going to be looking for more upside, I think there's going to be a lot of bulls who are very present. So keep that in mind for SPY. Now, how about the QQQ? We have a very similar setup. Now, I want to mention that on the QQQ, when we go to the weekly time frame, similar to SPY, we got a nice close. So if you look at the weekly, very strong looking weekly candlestick right over here. There was a downtrend here, but we managed to close above our trend line even on the weekly. So that's a very, very good sign of life. A nice bounce, very close to our weekly 20 EMA, which is looking quite good. On the daily time frame, there's volume coming in. We got a decent close right over here. We held support right here, and we're still holding this trend line. As long as that holds in the daily, we're going to be completely fine. I also want to mention that this imbalance would drag us a lot higher if we do start pushing towards that. And then on the 4-hour time frame, there's a very, very interesting looking inverse head and shoulders. Here's the left shoulder, a head and then a right shoulder. So it's still looking more bullish. So it is still favoring 22, a big push to about, 528 as the most likely possibility. So if we were to get some kind of like retest of resistance, if we retest previous resistance becoming support at this 519 or so area, as long as we don't lose 515, so we have 515 under 50 EMA. If we were to lose that, then we have that gap to fill back down to like 512 and eventually 507 again. But as long as we hold like 515, Could be looking for a bounce and continuation back up towards 528 as the most likely possibility. For now, we do look bullish. The weekly is favoring that, and then we also have Trump's inauguration, so we are still looking quite strong approaching that. As long as we don't lose that like 518 to 519 zone right over here, I'll be watching that very, very closely. Now, the Russell, I'm still a little bit concerned about this. We have a tough resistance at this trend line. We haven't broken our 200 EMA at 226 yet. We came very close, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. The weekly chart does show some life, so it's favoring the upside, but I need to see confirmation of a break past resistance and 226 just to be safe. So is there potential? Yes, there most definitely is potential, but we haven't broken the key level for confirmation. On ES, let me just double check this. ES is looking more bullish. We have an inverse head and shoulders set up here. If we do break through this, we're looking for an attempt to get up to about 660.80. We're looking quite good, but I do see a tough resistance right over here, just under the 60.55 area. So I'm thinking that this might dip a little bit right here. I might see a little bit of a dip for a back test, just like that. And we'll have to see if we get some kind of bounce off of that, just like this. Will we lose support and start dipping all the way back down? If that's the case, if we lose the trend line, we will be dipping. But as long as we hold above the trend line, we could try to bounce again and make a much higher move to the upside. So keep that in mind. A move like this is still looking very, very possible. For others out there, let me just go over just a couple more before I conclude this video. NQ looks a lot stronger than ES because it does not look like the full measured move is done yet. We have this trend line which we're riding upwards, and we have this imbalance up here, which would take us up closer to about 21,800. So I'm thinking that this imbalance right over here, this little breakout could be retested. I would like to see us kind of like retest this and then try to bounce after Trump's inauguration. As long as we hold that, I'd be looking for an attempt to get back closer to like 22,000. NQ is looking quite good with the inverse head and shoulders, and we're breaking out right here. But if we were to lose 21,420 or 200 EMA, then I would become a little concerned about this dipping. So just keep that in mind where my cursor is right here to see if that support holds. But so far, NQ looks like it's breaking resistance, and we're doing a great job at least thus far. So good job by NQ. Nice inverse head and shoulder setup. Looking quite good on the 4-hour and the daily time frames. Just a few more. Let me just go over Nvidia then Tesla. So Nvidia's looking quite good here, right? We're forming an accumulation like structure. Let me close these levels just to make this easier to see. This is kind of like a cup and handle, sort of, and we're trying to hold up very, very well. So we formed a very, very nice base on Nvidia. The daily is looking more bullish. We still have these like gaps above, and then the weekly. If you look at the weekly, looks a little bit more bullish, right? We got this dump and a bounce off this support around this 130 area. So now it's favoring, it wants to break past 140. Nvidia could be more promising approaching Trump's inauguration, so that could be a big factor for it. So it looks bullish. Nice cup and handle like structure. We'll see if we could break past this resistance right over here, very close to 140. If that's the case, I see us going closer to about 144 to retest where this wick is right here. There's a very, very good chance it's going to be attempting to do that. You could even argue there's a much larger inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour, so it's looking a bit more bullish to me. For now, let's see how we end up reacting. As long as we don't lose like 135.9 to 20 EMA, to start filling the gap back down towards 133. So if this support breaks right here, I'd be a little bit concerned, right? If we were to hypothetically come all the way down here and we don't hold this support, then we could be coming back down just like this to fill that gap. But I'm not favoring that. I am hoping that as long as we hold above 135, we should continue to push to 140 plus. And if you see this thing above 140 very, very quickly on like Tuesday after Trump's inauguration for the cup and handle, the next target is going to be around this 144 area right up here. And there's a very, very good chance that we could be approaching levels just like that. So keep that in mind. We're looking more bullish as long as we don't lose support, and we could be looking for an attempt to push for 140 and then 144. Tesla's looking the best because so we had this resistance over here, we rejected, resistance rejected, and we had this support that was holding up since October. We held support and we broke past resistance in a channel. So this is our breakout. We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. And when you zoom out, so first off, it's breaking out, it's past this resistance. This is the first time we're breaking out of this blue trend line of resistance. This trend line right here, we haven't broken that since December. Now we're finally breaking it. That's a very, very positive sign so far. It's going to continue this uptrend like this and try to make its way up towards like the 450 area. So it's looking good. We could be looking for a dip back down to like 422, a bounce, and a continuation like this, maybe after Trump's inauguration, if we do continue to be bullish. As long as we don't lose 410 to 411, we do favor the upwards direction for that 450 target. We could even try to surpass 450 because there's these gaps to fill. There's another gap up here around 452. We could even try to get closer to all-time highs if that breaks. So we're looking bullish. It looks very bullish on the daily to me. Our weekly close on Tesla was quite strong. Nice move to the upside. We managed to break the high from the previous 2 weeks. That's a good sign for Tesla to try to continue to break out of this channel and eventually try to push higher. So technicals to me are looking more bullish. We're favoring upside for Tesla. Trump's inauguration should be a good catalyst. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. So far, so good. Apple, I'm a little concerned about not looking as good on the weekly or the daily charts. We have to see if it could hold above 230 or not. We're barely at support right now, so we'll see if it can hold it. It's still looking a little bit lackluster to me. I want to see it reclaim 235 at the very least to really bounce. Otherwise, it's still kind of lackluster. Just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's just a quick analysis for the weekend. I'll see if I get time to upload another video tomorrow. So keep that in mind, guys. I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day and peace out.